Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
This is the closing bell on the Stock Movers Report. The companies making moves at the close of U.S. trading with Carol Massar, Tim Stenovec, Romaine Bostick, and Scarlet Fu.
255 stocks, moved higher. Isabelle, 244 moved lower.
If we look at the IMAP, this also tells the story because, Scarlett, you mentioned it earlier, but utilities were the best performer. We're talking mainly, though, Vistra Energy, for example, these utilities that are involved in power consumption by AI companies and so on, up 1.7%. But energy companies in general down 1%. So there was a lot of stories going on underneath. It wasn't just crypto week.
And just a quick correction, when I gave those numbers, I'm sorry, I was referring to volume, not the actual index levels, because the index levels are not moving like that on a weekly basis. The S&P 500 marginally higher by 0.6%. The NASDAQ, little changed on the week.
All right, well, let's talk to some of the stocks that were on the move today and this week as well. A few of the gainers on my radar included Charles Schwab, up 2.9%. The company did report second quarter earnings earlier today. It topped estimates. Client assets hit a new record. Trading revenue increased. Rick Wurster, the company's new-ish CEO, he said they are continuing to build out digital assets. And it'll include spot trading in Bitcoin and Ethereum. The company expects that to be a, quote, meaningful growth driver. Also, watching shares of what's happening with crypto companies today because of that signing of the Genius Act in Washington. We heard comments from President Trump earlier today talking about that bill moving through Congress and ultimately ending up on his desk. Shares of Robinhood higher by 4% today. The president hailed that new law is a giant step to cement American dominance of global finance and crypto technology. It delivered a major victory for the digital asset industry. Robinhood CEO Vlad Tenev was actually at the event at the White House today. The president called him out by name just a little bit ago. And finally, here's an interesting one. California Resources. It's an energy and carbon management company based in California. It popped in late trading. You can see it on the chart right there. Up close to 7% on the day. This after news reports that Governor Gavin Newsom of California is proposing a bill to streamline permitting for new oil wells. Environmental groups, though, are pushing back. They say it would wipe out scrutiny of the industry. California Resources up today by 6.7%.
On to the decliners, we have to start with Humana because shares closed just 1.5% lower, but intraday it was wild because the shares sank as much as 7.5%. That's the lowest since at least April 2017. So Humana lost its lawsuit seeking to reverse cuts to its Medicare bonus payments. So this is a blow for the insurer because they really hoped that the court would restore billions in revenue. So we're definitely going to see a squeeze in profits. We have Barclays telling Bloomberg in April that a win would have doubled their 2026 profits. So this is why stocks are edging down for now. Next is Lucid. So this is also in the red, down by 2.5%. Shares are just really consolidating after the massive jump we saw on Thursday. That's yesterday, which we saw the most in 2 years. So this came after the company said it was planning to team up with Uber and self-driving tech startup Nuro to launch a robo-taxi fleet. And last, we have Chevron. Shares are down by almost 1%. So Chevron won the arbitration battle with Exxon, which is its larger rival, to finally close its acquisition of Hess. So the victory comes after more than 20 months after the deal was announced, which was worth $53 billion. So really, at least a lot of overhang there lifted in the industry.
Yeah, overhang lifted, but it was something that investors were anticipating, which might explain why the shares ended up finishing lower. Let's take a look at what's happening across fixed income. The Treasury yield down across the curve, but certainly more so at the shorter end of the curve. The 2-year now down about 3 basis points to 3.86%. The 30-year finishing the week below 5%. But remember, it did reach about 5.07% on the day that President Trump, there were reports that President Trump was considering firing Jay Powell, really threatening the independence of the Federal Reserve.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.